The Nursery tab defines the sowing list and allows us to set the number of plants ordered or needed from the nursery. Here the lines are sorted according to what we defined in the previous tab. To define the number of seedlings we want to order, we enter in the seedlings text box a number and click Update. Let's give it a number of 24. And that's indicated under the seedlings column. Typically, the seedlings number we order is more than we actually need to overcome bad germination. To indicate how many seedlings we actually need, we can set the plants number column. Here we give it a number of 12. And then save. Suppose that for group 3 we want more plants. We can select those lines of group 3 just by clicking the group name over here. And then select the rows and then update the numbers. So let's say for this I want 36 seedlings to order and 24. And then save. Of course, after germination in the nursery, we can update the real number of plants that actually germinated. So let's say for here we have only 10 plants, and here we have 8, and these groups have, let's say, 11 or whatever, and then save. The last action in this tab is to give the nursery numbers. We click on the nursery number button from the toolbar and provide the starting number for this nursery. Normally each breeder will have its own range of numbers. Here I select the start from 201 and then create. The nursery number column is updated and we can move on to the next tab. The Field Map tab shows two tables. On the left there is the nursery list, similar to what we had in the previous tab. On the right there's the field list table, which initially is always empty. The first action here is to create plots in the field. For this I click on the Create Plots button and enter how many field rows and columns I want to create. Columns here represent plots in a row. So let's put 15 rows and 8 plots in a row. Now the right table is being populated with rows, each representing a plot in the field. There are a total of 120 rows in the table, which is 15 field rows multiplied by 8 plots in a row. The next action, which is optional, is to define how many plants we want to put in each plot. This is done using the plants text box. Here I'll put 8 plants for each plot. By clicking Update, the plant numbers are indicated on the table over here. I can also give different plant numbers for individual plots by selecting and updating the numbers. Let's say I want to here make it 12, or now change it back to 8, and finally save. The next action we need to perform is to move lines from the nursery list that is in the left table into the fields list that is in the right table. This is done by selecting lines from the left table and dragging them into the right table. For example, if I want to take all lines from group 1, I can select that group from the menu like this, and then select the rows of that group, move them to the first plot in the field. The line name and nursery number are indicated on the right. Also in the column Replicate in the left table indicates how many replications in the field I have for each line. Let's move on to group 2. Select them and move them to the next available plot. like this. Then go to group 3. And let's say that group 3 is more important to me and I want to plant them in 2 replications. So for this, I select them and I move them to the next available plot. And then move them again to the next available plot. You can see under the replicate column that indeed we have 2 replications from each line in that group. Also, the planted column shows that we need 16 plants for these lines, 8 plants for each of the 2 plots. And now we'll save the changes. The last action in this tab is to give plot numbers. To do this, I click on the number plots and a pop-up window appears. It prompts me to give a starting plot number. The checkboxes provide options that affect the plot numbering. The first one makes sure that if a line appears more than once in the field, it will get the same plot number concatenated with a letter. So the first one will be A, the second and B, and so on. Second just gives plot numbers that are the same as nursery numbers. Some breeders will prefer that. But for this demo, I'll just give a starting plot number that is 501 and click OK. Now the plot number appears under the plot column in the field list. Now that we are done preparing the field map, we can output reports that will help us with the planting. The first report on the Reports button is called Field Map. Let's click on it. This will give us a printable PDF file that shows all plots along with their physical field rows and columns. For each plot we can see the line name that needs to be planted, its nursery number, and the plot number. We have several pages depending on the number of field rows and columns. The next report is called Plots by Nursery. This shows for each nursery number all field plots that this line should be assigned to. So for example, the line in nursery number 272 should be planted in plots 572 and 583. So these reports will help us to do the planting.